This video is going to be about factoring trinomials, although in this case the trinomials are all going to have a number in front of the x squared. You can see we have a 2 in front of the x squared and a 3 in front of the x squared. When you're given a trinomial to factor that has a number in front of the x squared, that means that we have to use a method called guess and check. It can be kind of a pain, but you know, the more we practice, the better we get at it. So guessing and checking will work like this. You're going to go ahead and set up your two sets of parentheses. And here's what we know. We know that the first two terms, so these two, have to multiply to give us that 2x squared. So 2x squared is kind of nice. There aren't a lot of options for what will multiply to give us 2x squared. Pretty much we just have a 2x and an x. Now the second term in each parenthesis has to multiply to give us this last term of -3. So to multiply to get -3 is just 1 and 3, although one of them will have to be negative. So what we do is we guess. We guess that maybe that's a 1 and that's a 3. Maybe that's a -1 and that's a +3. So I'm just going to rewrite this down here. We have 2x minus 1 and we have x plus 3. So that's our guess. Right now we don't know if it's right or if it's wrong, and that's where the check comes in for guess and check. You can check this by foiling it out. If you just foil, you multiply the first terms. Well, I kind of skip over half of the check part because I know the first terms is 2x times x, and that's 2x squared, which we already know that that would give us 2x squared because that's what we set up from up here. And then we would multiply our outside and our inside terms, and then the last term is this -1 times 3, which is a -3. Well, we already knew we'd get a -3 because up here we set it up for that to happen specifically. So pretty much our check is just going to be checking the outside and the inside terms. So we check the outside terms and the inside. So 2x times 3 is a 6x, and -1 times x is a -1x. And what we're looking for is to see if the 6x and the -1x will combine to give us this middle term up here of a +1x. Well, 6x minus x is a 5x, so our guess did not work out. So I'm going to go ahead and erase this. I'm going to erase this, and I'm going to erase the 1 and the 3. And we're going to guess again. So let's say we have +3 and -1. So all I did was I switched those two terms. This should give us something different to check. So we check our outside terms. 2x times a -1 is a -2x. And then 3 times x is a 3x. And now if we combine our 3x and our -2x, does that add up to give us this +1x? And in this case it does. So that means we guessed correctly and we checked it, so we know our answer is right. So our final answer is going to be this 2x plus 3x minus 1. That is the correct factored answer. Alright, once we get the hang of these, they tend to go a little bit faster. So this next one, there's a number in front of our x squared, which means we have to guess and check, so we set up our parentheses. Now the first two terms have to multiply to 3x squared, so we really only have 3x times x as our options. Now the next term has to multiply to give us this -12. So we've got some options. Your factors of -12, you could do 1 and 12, or 2 and 6, or 3 and 4, and so we'll just go through however many it takes till we get the answer. I'll start with the 3 and the 4, and because it's a -12, we do need one of those to be positive, one negative. So, I don't know, let's say -3 and +4. So that's my guess. Now to check, I'm going to check the outside terms. We have 3x times 4, which is a 12x. Check the inside terms, -3x, and 12x minus a 3x is 9x, but we're looking for it to equal a 5x. So that did not work out. So we guessed, we checked, and now we have to guess again. Again, just switching those two options, if they just switch spots, a lot of times that's all it takes. So maybe I'll put the -4 here and the +3 there. And now we'll check to see if this one works. So we have 3x times 3 gives us 9x. Negative 4 times x is a negative 4x. And now we can see that 9x and a negative 4x do equal that middle term of 5x. So we got the right one. So our final answer, and it tends to get a little bit messy, I'll rewrite it down here, is 3x minus 4 times x plus 3. That's our factored answer. So we guess we have to check to make sure that it worked out, and we keep checking until we find the right factored solution.